The ideas expressed in the following presentations are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of ACI or its committees.
Being the second to last presenter on precast concrete pavement, all of my thunders has been stolen. So I have really to alter my presentation if I don't want to go through the same repetition of talking about different systems or application or benefits, but I do my best to make sure that you don't fall asleep. First of all, I have to acknowledge this fact about precast concrete pavement. This is another application of this wonderful material that we call concrete. So you guys being involved with concrete in any ways, I think you should be proud with this, again, business of working with this material, from the flexibility of this material, that how it can really fit our needs for different cases. I'm going to go very quickly through introduction, talk about the implementation in California, and probably again go very quickly on a sample operation. California has a specific need for precast, and as you can see in this picture, this is on Highway 101 near Santa Barbara. It's around 1:30 in the morning. And you can see a line of cars at that time. So people don't sleep in California. I don't know what the hell they do, but they don't get sleep. Even when you close the highway, and this is about 25, 30 miles north of LA, so it's not really in the LA area. But there are always cars on the highways in California. So they don't give you a break to do your job. But on the other hand, we don't have a construction season in California. So that's the advantage that we have. Having said that, there are some general benefits for precast systems. Being fast, durable, you can do it in a little space, and you can do it relatively on different weather conditions. But when it comes to pavement, it translates to some very major issues for a DOT agency. Less user delays, less maintenance, and less need for lane closures. And overall, what is important is we are talking about safety. Again, being in a highway agency business, your work is close to an area which is relatively dangerous. You're working within the exposure of a live traffic, 60, 70 miles. People get drunk, people get sleepy at night. So the less that you have to do any of these maintenance or work zones, you are better off in terms of safety. And safety is a key issue for all highway agencies, mostly very much for California because of the litigation. So again, that's another reason that we have to use precast concrete pavement. You have seen it, different applications, intermittent repairs and rehabs, longer lane. We call it slab replacement and lane replacement in California. Both of them are under rehab. New construction, Shiraz mentioned that there is that 22-mile highway in Indonesia. We haven't used it for new construction yet, but hopefully we are going to do that. Systems, again, you have heard about it. There are two main categories, jointed and continuous. Jointed can be reinforced or pre-tensioned. Continuous or post-tension system that tie the panels together. Jointed system, there are different innovations in terms of connection, grading, and support. What we do in California is we have a generic system which is not patented. We put it out and we give the contractors the flexibility if they choose to use a patented system. But our system is generic and we don't have any patent for that. Any other states can use that generic system. In terms of continuous system, again, there are alterations depending on where do they put the post-tensioning locations. Either it's on the top or it's at the end. And also there are different types of joint configuration in terms of key and keyways at the panel connections. Shiraz mentioned about the production rate, 50 to 20 for repairs, 30 to 40 for continuous. The record for us is about 100 feet. We placed about 60-foot panels of 16-foot long panels in one night. So that was the record. I don't think Guinness Book of Records care about precast panel for now. So I don't expect we be on that book, but that shows that there is room to improve this technology. This is a list of, actually I should say partial list of projects that has been built, is under construction or in the design phase. The white ones are the ones that has already been built. The yellow ones are under construction right now. There are about half a dozen of them. The blue ones are the ones that are in design, and 2 more projects just came to my desk. So there are more than what you see on the list. The first one and the oldest one has been completed in 2004. And as you can see, we have had continuous exposure to precast concrete pavement. I have to say that the green one, which shows just one line, this is more than, I would say, 25 projects. And I put them under one line because these are maintenance projects in opposed to other ones that are more major projects or what we call capital outlay projects. So we have been doing it for relatively a long time, and we plan to do it and expand the use of precast concrete pavement. During this time, there has been design challenges. For those of you who are not in the pavement world, pavement has been historically designed based on empirical basis. You might have heard about AASHTO roadway experience and all the design methods that came after that. More recently, we are talking about mechanistic empirical design. And again, there is an empirical component in that design methodology. And what it means is they go and look at the performance of all these pavements and come up with a design methodology. Unfortunately, precast concrete pavement being relatively new, there is not much data and information. So that's a big challenge in terms of doing the design. Some of the failure criteria is not even studied properly. We still look at our cast-in-place concrete and think that our precast concrete would probably fail that way, but that doesn't necessarily is the case. The other thing is service life. Again, there are questions, what is the service life between precast concrete versus cast-in-place or what we call rapid strength concrete, and what is the difference between a precast post-tension and precast jointed concrete pavement. So these are the things that we still are working. In terms of construction, for our contractors, it's a change of culture. The things that we talk about in precast concrete pavement are not familiar for a cast-in-place contractor. So these are new, and even for agency, for our inspectors, are the same. Wisconsin was stressing a lot about saw cutting, so that's the way that we do the saw cut. We send the blade ahead of the saw cut, so that helps us to do a better cut in advance, actually. What we have done so far, we have come up with a design methodology with the limited information that we had. We have prepared specifications, standards for plans. We have prepared guidelines, workshops, and we have put more than a dozen pilot projects. What we need to do, we still have to see what we have done and hopefully use those lessons to advance the technology. The policy improvement has always room to improve your specifications, your guidelines, and we are emphasizing a lot on construction quality. Again, being something relatively new, we need to do a lot of training and just-in-time training and pre-construction training to make sure that everybody knows what needs to be done. Future product would be better standards, more guidance, and we also need to have a better understanding of the cost and maintenance schedule. Fortunately for California, the cost has been decreasing as we do more precast concrete pavements, so that's not a big concern for us. I would quickly go through this sample operation. You have seen it a couple of times today. What we do is we come, cut the existing, remove the existing pavement, compact subgrade. I didn't see that in some of the previous presentations. We still need to put things on a compacted soil. Again, although in California we replaced the base and put a brand new base under our precast concrete pavement, but if the soil is not competent, doesn't matter whether you put a base or precast or anything else, you still have to make sure if you do a lot of this type of things, if you disturb the soil a lot, you have to go back and compact it. You can't put a base on a disturbed soil. I mean, that's the first, I think, lesson that you get on foundation design 101. So that's something that has to be, sometimes you need bigger equipment, sometimes maybe a smaller one would suffice. Putting the base, again in California, we put always lean concrete base under our precast concrete pavements. As a matter of fact, we do it even always for our cast-in-place concrete. In this case, we use what we call LCBRS, which is a rapid set. It sets about 40 to 45 minutes. There are different ways that they roll it. Then they bring the panels. This is, again, what Shiraz was showing. This was developed in California. They call it teardrop or cast slide. So that's a generic system that we put the dowels in one panel and we slide it into the other one. We believe it's fast and very high performing. This is a project that has been started 2 weeks ago. This is the test strip. There are 7,000 panels, about 37,000 cubic yards of precast concrete pavement. This is a general overview of the operation. They are putting the lean concrete base at this end and the panels are fast approaching. So you can see that how quickly that can be done. Bedding grout was discussed before. It could be gravity or pressurized depending on the application, and then we fill the dowel slots. So basically that's the operation, and this is the finished product next morning. It's not always straightforward. Sometimes there are challenges. One of the challenges that we have in LA area has to do with all those overpasses. And it's hard to put these 16-foot long panels with these cranes under these overpasses. So it might impede the production, but overall, again, 500 to 800 foot per night, one closure is a norm in California. With that, I entertain any questions. Yeah.
I wonder if you've seen the same increase in cost that one of the previous speakers. Have you seen the cost going up, or is it leveled out for you? It looks like you've done a lot of panels.
It has come down significantly in California. And to be honest with you, I was surprised what I saw from Wisconsin, that the cost has gone up. And maybe one reason is we are very clear to our contractors that precast concrete pavement is not going to go anywhere. We are going to do more and more on that. So maybe they are investing both money-wise and training-wise on that. And that's maybe the reason that the cost is coming low. Did I answer your question?
How many contractors do you think are available in California? 5, 10, 3?
Well, you're talking about precasters or you're talking about prime?
precast?
Well, we have more than a dozen of precast plants in California. But one thing to remember is our contract for any of these precast jobs is with the prime, with the general contractor. And precasters are working under the capacity of a subcontractor to the prime. So we don't have any shortage of precasters in California. What we need is more knowledgeable prime contractors who know how to install these materials. And unfortunately, with the problems that we have had in the past, most of them, if not all, was about installation, not really the precast coming out of the plant. We had very few issues with the precast panels per se.